All right then, away we go. 20 minutes on the match clock. 4 players here tonight. They'll all play each other, round-robin formats. Top of the group at the end of the night will qualify through to the second stage, which does begin next week. We are playing international 8-ball rules, so Wade here will pick his colour set. Pot reds or yellows, then the 8-ball, win the frame. And he's got a good chance to do just that. The match clock is important. It's races to 4 or 0 on the clock, whichever comes first. That means the draw is also in play. It's created some really interesting groups, no less so than last week when I think we had 4 draws out of the 6 matches. But open as ever on the Monday nights. It's a format that's been wide open all the way through the tournament, and well, that is how we like it.
Good chance here for Wade in the opening frame, and he's playing the route favourite here, and it would be very good for him and his chances tonight if he could take out a finish here and set the tone. That's a lovely pot. And he's on the one to right centre. May not have been the one he wanted, but he's on it.
Yeah, already it's a good pot, but it's gone ever so slightly wrong. He took on a more challenging yellow there for the purpose of getting a better position and a better pattern, but
yeah, the only yellow he could see to the bottom left was cue balls going straight into the red, and he had no way of getting on the next ball with control. The problem with having to take this yellow off the table now is that yellow was his ball to help connect these together. He's actually landed ball in hand perfect here. That was a fantastic shot. He's on the one nearest the cushion, which means he can control this. It's one of those shots he's just played. If he pulls up a little bit short or goes a little bit further, it makes life a lot harder. Thought he might go the other way around there. He had the angle where he could come off the side cushion and play on the one at the bottom, and as long as you go past the straight, then you can leave the one that he's now landed awkward on as last ball that connects nicely to the 8-ball. Has to play around with the reds now. But he plays around with them very well. A couple of excellent shots to get himself in good position with 2 balls to go.
yeah, absolutely. Wade's a top player. Really like the way that he approaches the game. He's super aggressive. But he's also very self-aware as well from spending a bit of time with him. He's, you know, sometimes in this game, as you know, Simon, you can almost have a little bit too much confidence and it can trip you up every now and then. But Wade was under no illusions really when he made the switch over to Ultimate Pool. He was thinking, right, okay, I've made it, but I know I've got a long way to go until I'm sort of challenging for honours, and it's up to me to improve, to get better, and to prove that I belong at this level, rather than necessarily thinking, I am at this level. And it can catch you out when you do that. I think he's got a good attitude.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you, actually. I thought he worded it very well in his interview. He understands where he is in the game, his ranking, and that he's got, you know, got to climb his way up those rankings, but he also has confidence in his own game. And I do like to see players, you know, he's come across because he wants to challenge himself against the best players in the world, and right now he's up against one of the best players of all time, and this is why he came over to Ultimate Pool. Oh, what a break that is.
Almost as good as his break that he alluded to in his interview, and he talks about that 27-second clearance. I mean, we were having a little chat about that off air. That, for me, for my money at least, is the best break I've ever seen, just in terms of not just how hard it was hit and everything. He's obviously potted 4 balls, but the split that it left, you know, was unbelievable.
Well, when he did that, you know, break clearing in 28 seconds wasn't on the radar of people. You know, we started to see it happening more and more, but, you know, obviously that's now the record.
Yeah,
but
that pushed the envelope of what felt like it was possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And now we see people breaking off with, you know, 35 seconds to go and know it's genuinely possible. I mentioned how good the break he's just hit is on this one, and actually when you watch the replay, he lost the cue ball a little bit because Gareth does try and get the cue ball up the middle of the table. So when it hits the side cushion before the top cushion, you know he's just come across it for action. The power was still there for all to see, but
It did look like it was, I don't want to put too precise a percentage on it, but it certainly wasn't full power.
No, more controlled. Normally, Gareth is a full power guy, but you're right. For me, he has definitely just gone for a smidge. I'd say a smidge more control, other than he didn't control it as well as he normally does. But the opening 2 shots in this visit have been fantastic because it looked a messy table, and now it's at his mercy. He's done well to slide by the red. If he got a contact on the red, he just slid by, knocked it awkward. Could have got a little bit messy for him. The big thing for me with Gareth is he's been very strong mentally. He's one of the strongest out there mentally, but he was very one-game guy. We talked about that in his interview. You know, he walked away from this sport in his prime to go and concentrate on a career in China, and that got put on hold because of COVID. And now that's back open. He's now mixing the 2 sports, certainly at the moment. So that's going to be his big challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. He's never done that before, and anyone who's ever met Gaz or knows him will know that he's incredibly dedicated at what he chooses to do. He was recently over in China for the Chinese 8-ball Masters, and I mean, the practice that he put in for that was amazing. You just couldn't scrape him off the Chinese table for weeks on end, really. But that was the same when he returned to English 8-ball in 2021. And as you saw from that bio, it didn't take him long to get a title and hit the ground. He's been to 2 finals since. He's won a Pairs Cup with his brother-in-law Mark Selby. It's been a very, very good return. Still, absolutely, in every single tournament he enters, no matter what the format is, whether it's one of, as he calls it, a fun tournament, or whether it's one of the more serious outings, he's always one of the names very high on the list of favourites to win.
Poor break from Wade, cue ball going straight in off. And final word for Gareth on that transition from the Chinese game to the English game. A lot of people wondering, you know, it can't be that big a difference, but it really does make a massive difference, the size of the balls and the table and the way things react. And it's a very different game to have that sort of feel, certainly to the level that Gareth does and the top players do. It's what makes what Chris Manning does so remarkable, the fact that he tops and changes so much.
Yeah, I think that's the key point, isn't it? It's not just the difference in games, it's to the level they're being played at.
Last time that Gareth was in this position, though, when his first year in China, he played 1 tournament after his first year because he made a commitment to play in the World Championships, and he stood by his word to play in it, and he turned up having not played for a year and won it. So he can do it, he knows that.
Yeah, and you were in that field, which
huge part of it, obviously.
Shows you the level of the tournament.
Yeah, Gareth won it. I was last 64 loser, so there you go. Enough said. Oh, Gareth just knocked a red awkward there, the one next to the yellow in that previous shot.
Straight back into it, a little bit left-hand side.
Beautiful. 8-ball's slightly awkward and doesn't go left centre, so he will want a nice ball on it to land nicely.
Yeah, he's just looking. He may come around a couple of cushions and end up behind it, just below where the 2 yellows are together, to play it into the right middle. He could obviously land below it and take it long. But Gareth is what you might call a pool purist. Himself and Mick Hill are very much in that same sort of bracket where there really is a right and a wrong way to clear up, and it's not defined on whether or not you actually do. He does indeed just land below the yellows, but he will take this long. He's very kindly on it to the top right. This for 2-1. Easily done. Partner Angie in the crowd as always. Been on Gareth's side for a very, very long time now.
Looks sharp, doesn't he? Started the night very, very well. 2 chances, 2 clearances, but this has become the norm. We've seen that with this year's edition of the Champions League. All players know they have to start like this if they want to have a chance to go through.
Yeah, it's what we're actually watching isn't necessarily that exceptional. It's almost...
It's the standard now.
This has been the standard
Yep.
all tournament.
Absolutely is, and you know, the night's come down to 1 or 2 errors, and Wade's missed break could be the error. He'll hope it isn't. He'll hope he gets more chances. Has to sit and watch this break though.
Oh, that's hit perfect. Oh, golden break. I don't think he even realised. He does now.
This is absolutely exceptional. This is perfect. Cue ball straight up the middle of the table. Huge power, and obviously a little Brucey bonus.
Yeah, there you go. Reaction absolutely brilliant from Gareth Potts there. He doesn't tend to get many of them. He's a real slave to the front ball break. I don't think you'll ever see Gareth Potts hit a cut break, which generally gets the 8 ball in motion a little bit more. So he hasn't really hit that many. And like many, he was a little bit unsure of how to react. But Wade Morley now finds himself right up against it. 3-1 down. He's really not done much wrong apart from that, and he's done it twice, and it will probably cost him the match. We are now getting to that stage where it's not necessarily the case in our long races where you tend to get a little bit more chances, but in these races to 4, when, you know, just by nature of how quick they are, the margins are so small, it's going to start coming down to, you know, we used to say, he didn't really get a chance, he's gone in off on his break a couple of times, didn't get the chance to win, but actually it's going to get to the point where you're going off your break, you're almost at this point, you can only blame yourself.
It's certainly in the two ways that Wade's gone in off. They're both poor breaks for the cue ball to go straight in the centre pocket, and okay, it doesn't sound like much going in off the break, but that's the difference between having the opportunities here and giving it to Gareth, and Gareth has run through these very quickly.
Yeah. Could have if he wanted. I think rivaled his 27-second clearance. No trouble at all. Gareth Potts in a hurry against Wade Morley. Gets through by 4 frames to 1. Super finish from Gareth, including a little bit of golden break. Razzmatazz.